My name is Dr. Austin Tay, and you are listening to Psych Chat. Welcome to episode 50 of Psych Chat, where we share tips on navigating the complex world of work. I'm your host, Dr. Austin Tay. Welcome to all new listeners of this podcast. Remember to subscribe to catch up on previous episodes and get notified when new ones are released. And to our existing subscribers, welcome back. Leave a review if you are enjoying the show. Your feedback helps us create content that matters to you. Today, I'm very delighted to be joined by Harleen Grover, a leadership and menopause in the workplace coach. Hi, Harleen. Welcome to the podcast. Tell us a bit more about yourself.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
So a little bit about myself. Where should I start? I guess with regards to my professional background, I first started out lecturing at university, and then I moved on to blue chip organizations and was responsible for developing international strategies for SAP from a learning and development perspective in Asia Pac and EMEA for, I think we had something like 7,200 users that we were implementing that strategy for. I loved that, and then I kind of had my own little aha moment and decided that I wanted to go into acting, which is something that I've always loved doing since I was younger. So I trained as a professional actor both in London and in New York, and now I am coaching. I've been coaching for the last couple of years, and I'm just getting my working towards my ICF accreditation. So that's a little bit about me.
Wow, brilliant. Fantastic background that you have there, both in the corporate world and also trained as an actor. Now, that makes me want to ask you now, what made you decide to focus on coaching alongside your acting career?
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting because I think I was actually drawn to coaching because it mirrors acting in so many different ways, and the love that I have for performing and acting and storytelling is the same love that I have for connecting deeply with people, which is what a coach does. So as an actor, I'm constantly exploring human emotions and experiences, and coaching just feels like such a natural extension of that. It's helping others navigate their own stories and overcome challenges and embracing transformation. So for me, there's a really big element of emotional intelligence and its awareness and impact that aligns with both coaching and acting. So for me, when I coach, I feel that it's my focus is in the ability to manage one's own emotions and to be able to understand the emotions of those around you and how they're feeling, and then implement that in behavior and organizational values. And I feel that these commonalities that are present in both my coaching style and acting really serve me as creating quite a unique and supportive environment for my clients.
Hearing what you just said, I can just see there's a great parallel in terms of acting and also the way coaching is done, which
Yeah.
is fantastic because I'm so intrigued by when you were saying emotional intelligence and also understanding the behavior of the person that you're coaching. Now, what would you like to achieve then in terms of now using this very unique blend of coaching and acting? what do you want to achieve in your career now as a coach?
Yeah. I mean, so my overall focus, to answer that question completely, I would say that we need to I need to give a little bit of clarity about what my overall focus is. And I feel that my overall focus in coaching is to empower leaders and enterprises and women to embrace their full potential in the best way that they possibly can, and particularly in their professional and personal lives as well. And my aim is to help my clients navigate challenges which they may be facing with greater confidence and crystal clear clarity, which is a significant part of my approach. While creating spaces where their unique experiences are acknowledged and valued. And I feel with regards to emotional intelligence being the component of that, coaching as well as acting actually it requires empathy and presence and being present with the client, and creating transformation. So those is kind of my journey towards within the coaching element and what I bring to it. And I feel that to answer your question in terms of what I'd like to achieve in coaching, I would say it's such a huge question, Austin. I would say I would certainly like to create some kind of impact, a positive impact, to create workplaces and leadership cultures where empathy and understanding are celebrated, and especially around topics that are often ignored, like menopause, for example. I really want to empower leaders to embrace inclusivity. I know that's a word that's really thrown about, but authentically, I really would like to empower leaders to embrace inclusivity and be authentic to themselves as well as others. And I would just say to break down stigmas that could potentially hold people back. I mean, ultimately, I hope that I'm able to inspire others to lead with courage and compassion, and fostering environments where everyone can thrive and find joy, which I feel is the whole purpose of living, is joy, or should be. So yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of a plethora of things that you to do, and I know I'm sure you'll be able to achieve that. Now, through the course of that, while you're planning, you are devising ways to help both organization and individuals working in the workplace. What have you learned about yourself though in this whole coaching journey?
Ooh, what have I learned about myself? I mean, I've had some real profound moments, I have to say. I would say that coaching has taught me that growth is never ending process. It literally is never a never ending process. And I actually love that. I've learned to be more patient with myself. And I've realized the power of vulnerability, not just in my clients, but in myself. My clients teach me so much uh, about myself and the world, and so much more. I feel that they help me to grow as well. I think it's coaching has shown me how important it is to be patient and to actively listen and not to have fixed ideas, but to truly understand and to dig deeper, and partner with my clients to do that. And I think most importantly, I would say that I've learned that every challenge that we face has the potential to become a really beautiful stepping stone towards greater strength and purpose. And yeah, like I said, just to be kind of kinder to myself. I think we could all take that away in life, to be honest.
Indeed, I mean, when we go through a coaching journey, there's a lot of self awareness that occurs, and I like the fact that you are combining all the different services that you could do provide to all your clients in the organization or individually. Now, you mentioned that you had worked in a corporate organization before.
Mhm.
One of the things
Mhm.
that I would like to ask you is, you know, um, now that you are working towards as a coach or have been coaching for a couple of years now, through the lens of a coach, how would you advise an organization about leadership and how they manage the people?
Yeah, that's such an interesting question. I would say that if I'm looking to create change or support organizations, I would say um, I would like to advise them how to change the tendencies that some organizations can have solely or a significant amount on performance metrics at potentially the expense of human connection. Um, I would say that leadership and people management should prioritize empathy and communication and creating a joyful space. You will hear that word a lot from me. Creating a joyful spaces for individuals and for themselves to thrive. I mean, when leaders genuinely invest in their people's well-being and I feel foster inclusive cultures, the results, both personal and organizational, are transformative and really impressive. And I can certainly contest to that for when I used to do my SAP implementations for L&D, and that was a focus in there that it created such a wonderful change and working environment that was fun. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I would say. Yeah.
Well, I pick up on the word change that you as you were sharing. I was just
Mhm.
wondering, there's always this common myth about leadership and workplace culture. How do you actually help to debunk that, when you're talking to your client in an organization?
Yeah, I think that it's a myth that leadership is like significantly about authority, yeah, and about decision making. For me, I think leadership is about influence and about trust and service. And I truly believe that the best leaders don't have all the answers. When I was leading my team, I certainly did not have all the answers. And I feel that the best leaders, they're there to empower others and to model being authentic and create environments where everyone can contribute their best. And leadership isn't about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge.
Hmm, that's interesting. And then it's very important that we give the right advice to our clients, isn't it? Now, I was just wondering, you were telling me about coaching, your experience. Was there a moment where, a aha moment for a client that it still stick in your head at the moment?
There've been quite a few aha moments actually for my clients, and trying to think of one particular one. I would say that for a particular client, and this is something that is prevalent for, I feel, quite a few people, quite a lot of people. And I would say that this particular client realized during our work that her constant drive for perfection was not only exhausting her, but also actually creating barriers in her team. And so her aha moment was when she embraced her vulnerability and developed trust in herself and her team, and saw that in sharing her challenges, it actually brought her team closer and improved the way that they work together, and also a sense of well-being for her as well as her team. And I remember her saying that I didn't realize that by letting go of control, I could actually gain respect and trust. So yeah, I think that was like definitely a powerful shift for her as a leader. Mhm.
Mm. Yeah, I think especially for a female leader, this is even more difficult because they have so much to prove, and yet they are piled up with a lot of unnecessary stress that often is overlooked. And one of the things that you were talking and you were sharing with us early on was your interest in menopause. Now,
Mhm.
if I may, I would like to go a bit deeper discussing about that. Perhaps you can
Sure.
share with us why and what do you want to aspire to do in this space, menopause in the workplace?
Yeah, I think for me, the niche that I'm sitting in, I guess, would be both between menopause and the leadership. So leadership coaching for individuals and organizations. And yes, I have a special interest in supporting women through their life transitions with a particular emphasis on menopause. Um, and I would say, what do I aspire for them to do? I would say that with regards to my focus, say if we focus on menopause, for now, if my focus on menopause, I would aspire to create a greater sense of understanding and clarity. For me, clarity is of the essence, and it's consider significantly important. And I think it's often overlooked and misunderstood in both personal and professional spaces, the impact of menopause. And sometimes I think in this space, women are just expected to kind of just push through it, yet menopause can have such a significant impact on their well-being, the relationships, career performance. It literally can affect every area and touch every area of women and women that work in organizations and working women. Obviously, then it impacts organizations, which is difficult to quantify and necessarily see unless you do the work with organizations to get them to that place. So my goal would be to take away the stigma with regards to this conversation and equip women and organizations with tools to thrive during this time and really advocate for workplace cultures that support them to do that.
So through your work of destigmatize the whole topic of menopause,
Mm-hmm.
do you think it would be important also, or equally important to also talk to the male counterparts in the workplace?
I mean, 100%. And I think that this is a conversation that we need to have more of, quite frankly. So in my coaching, my audience is literally anyone navigating menopause or anyone that is or could be directly or indirectly impacted by menopause, be it now or in the future. So whether they're leaders, employees, organizations, or individuals, and men form such a huge and equal part of that conversation for me. So yeah, and I already do broach this topic with men, and I already do coach men on this topic as it happens. So I absolutely believe that this is a topic for men, not just for women. I think it's critical to educate male leaders and colleagues, partners about menopause, as their understanding and support can dramatically improve workplace inclusivity and also has such a major impact on both women's life, both in a professional environment and personally. So the way that I approach this actually, Austin, is that I approach it through education and an open dialogue and helping men see how menopause isn't just a woman's conversation, but a leadership, workplace, and life conversation. So by reframing that conversation in terms of empathy and productivity and inclusivity, I feel that men can become partners in creating a supportive environment for the whole workplace, not just women. So this impacts the wider community as a whole. So yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I was just as I was listening to you, you were sharing about your interest and your background itself
Uh-huh.
and your focus, especially in menopause.
Uh-huh.
I was just wondering if you have a chance to go back to your younger self, what would be one piece of advice that you give to your younger self?
Oh my God. How long do we have in this podcast? Austin, I have so much advice for my younger self. I could write a book on that. I would say, oh, what springs to mind? This is such a loaded question. I would tell my younger self, I would say, Harleen, success isn't about having it all figured out, which I thought it was. I think it's about staying curious about what could be, what is, and being adaptable and being true to yourself. I would remind myself to embrace the journey and not fear failure. And to, I think for me personally, most importantly, lean into my own values rather than external expectations, for sure. Yeah.
So for the listeners here in this podcast, what would be one thing that you want them to remember about our
Oh,
conversation today?
okay. Well, hello, listeners. I hope you're having a lovely day. I think that the one thing I would say would be uh, that the most impactful leaders are those that lead with empathy and are authentic both to themselves and to others. And especially when navigating things like menopause, managing a team, or striving for personal growth, I would say that to remember that success comes from embracing your humanity and not hiding it, and have the courage to bring that to the forefront. So when you create spaces where people feel seen and heard and valued and feel that they belong in that space, where you also feel seen and heard and valued and you feel that you belong, I feel that you unlock the potential for true transformation, both yourself and in others. So for me, I would say remember, if you can, which is not always easy because life gets in the way, that the journey, it's the journey that's all powerful, not necessarily the destination. Yeah.
Great. You have shared a lot with our listeners today, and I'm sure you've given a lot of tips to those who are focusing on perhaps changing a career as a coach or focusing on the topic of inclusivity. Predominantly, you're talking about menopause there. So, where can people find you online to learn more about your coaching?
They can find me at my website, thespace.com, on LinkedIn at Harleen Grover, and yeah.
Great. And we will put all your contacts in our show notes too. Lastly, I want to say thank you very much, Harleen, for taking the time to speak with me and sharing all your insights, which is fantastic. And I'm sure our listeners have a lot to digest in this podcast.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you for having me. It's been such a great pleasure. Thank you so much.
You have been listening to Site Chat. This podcast is brought to you by Omnisci Consulting. We are a team of psychologists with a wealth of experience working with individuals, teams, and organizations in coaching, executive selection, assessment and development, career transitioning, and workplace intervention. Omnisci Consulting exists to solve the critical issues facing our clients, both large and small. Our approach is to tailor-make